You know it's got to be February because suddenly every store looks like it exploded with red and pink.
Yeah.
And heart-shaped candies are like everywhere I look.
Right.
Got me thinking about Valentine's Day and like the whole impact it has on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So as our resident relationship expert, I have to ask,
Yeah.
can a holiday that was basically invented by Hallmark really change how we connect with people?
You know what? It absolutely can.
Really?
Yeah. Think of it almost like a yearly relationship checkup, you know?
Okay.
Valentine's Day kind of forces us to stop and think about our partners and like how we actually express our feelings.
Okay, I can see that, but isn't there a risk that it can feel a little bit forced?
Yeah.
Like we're just buying into this super commercialized idea of what love should look like?
That's where things get interesting.
Oh.
Valentine's Day can actually highlight those little cracks that are already there in a relationship, especially if couples are just going through the motions with like all those generic gestures.
Yeah.
Instead of really putting in the effort to connect, you know, on a deeper level.
So you're saying that like all the extravagant stuff,
Yeah.
like the dozen roses, the fancy dinners, they don't always get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes those really big gestures are almost like a way to avoid actually dealing with the real issues.
Oh, wow.
And let's be real for a second, Valentine's Day can create a lot of pressure to live up to all those unrealistic expectations.
Well, yeah.
Especially with social media now, you know.
Don't even get me started.
Everybody's always trying to show off these like picture-perfect romances.
Oh, tell me about it. Remember like a few years back when every single couple on Instagram was suddenly taking a hot air balloon ride?
Yeah.
Talk about setting the bar high.
Right?
But speaking of pressure,
Yeah.
what about people who are single? How does Valentine's Day affect them?
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
For people who are in relationships, Valentine's Day can be tough.
Yeah.
It feels like everywhere you look, it's just couples, couples, couples.
Oh, for sure.
And it can really make those feelings of loneliness and isolation even worse.
Yeah, I can definitely see that it's like the holidays rubbing it in.
Right. And that's why I think it's so important to be sensitive and mindful on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Maybe save those over-the-top public displays of affection for another time, you know?
So where does that leave us? Should we just ditch Valentine's Day altogether?
I mean, not necessarily.
Okay.
It actually offers a really valuable opportunity to just hit the pause button and reflect, you know?
Okay.
It's a chance to really communicate openly with your partner about your needs and expectations and, you know, maybe create some really meaningful memories.
Okay, but those memories don't have to be like expensive or flashy, right?
Exactly. Sometimes those heartfelt gestures, the ones that come from the heart, they mean so much more.
You mean like ditch the diamond-encrusted whatever they're selling on those cheesy commercials?
Haha, exactly.
And go for something with a little more meaning.
Exactly. You know, it's about nurturing your relationship all year round.
Okay.
And Valentine's Day is just kind of a gentle reminder to make that connection a priority.
You know, what strikes me is that Valentine's Day almost forces us to have these conversations about our needs and desires in relationships. The conversations that we might normally shy away from, you know?
Right.
It's like there's a built-in prompt for deeper communication.
Yeah, it is. It's so fascinating how this holiday really pushes us outside of our comfort zones.
Totally.
It encourages us to be more intentional about our relationships.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the emphasis on being thoughtful. Like it encourages us to think beyond those generic gestures and really think about what would make our partner feel truly loved and appreciated.
Yeah.
But, you know, of course, there's always the potential for things to backfire, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of those potential downsides we need to be aware of?
I think the biggest pitfall is the comparison trap. It's so easy to get caught up in that like idealized version of romance that we see everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It leads to unrealistic expectations and, you know, a lot of disappointment.
Definitely.
It's so important to remember that every relationship is unique.
Yeah.
And, you know, has its own rhythm and its own way of expressing love.
It's a challenge for sure. It's like everyone's trying to outdo each other with their romantic gestures and perfectly curated photos.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in that and forget that real relationships are messy and imperfect, but also, you know, beautifully unique.
Yeah.
And speaking of unique,
Yeah.
any advice for our listeners who are single and trying to navigate this like super love-saturated holiday?
You know, for those who are single this time of year, it can feel like a constant reminder of what you don't have.
Oh, for sure.
But it's so important to prioritize self-care.
Okay.
And remember that your worth isn't tied to your relationship status.
Right.
Valentine's Day can be a great opportunity to celebrate self-love and connect with friends and family who love and appreciate you for who you are.
That's such a great reminder.
Yeah.
It's a chance to redefine what Valentine's Day means for you,
Yeah.
to focus on the connections that truly matter,
Exactly.
and to celebrate love in all its forms,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not romantic love.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that love is this like multifaceted emotion
Yeah.
and that we experience it in all these different ways throughout our lives.
Hmm.
Valentine's Day doesn't have to be limited to just romantic love.
Right.
It can be a day to celebrate all the meaningful relationships in our lives,
Yeah.
whether it's with family, friends, or even ourselves.
I love that, like taking the pressure off and making it more inclusive.
Yeah.
It's about celebrating connection in all its forms.
I think sometimes the simplest gestures are the most impactful.
Like what?
A handwritten note, a heartfelt conversation, or even a shared experience that brings you closer.
Yeah.
And, these gestures don't have to be limited to just romantic relationships.
That's so true. Like a simple act of kindness can really brighten someone's day
Absolutely.
and make them feel valued.
Even though we've talked about some of the downsides,
Yeah.
I do think it's important to acknowledge that Valentine's Day can be a really positive experience for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a chance to express your love and appreciation for the people you care about
Mm-hmm.
and, create those special memories together.
Right. And those shared experiences, those moments of connection, they're what really matter.
For sure.
That's what makes relationships special and fulfilling.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, it's all about those genuine connections
Mm-hmm.
and celebrating the love in our lives.
Yeah.
But, doing it in a way that doesn't break the bank
Right.
or succumb to all that pressure to be perfect.
Yeah.
So how can we create those meaningful memories without, selling a kidney for a diamond necklace?
There are so many possibilities. Like a handwritten letter
Oh.
or a heartfelt conversation can be so meaningful.
Mm.
Or maybe plan a cozy night in with a movie marathon and homemade popcorn.
Oh.
Or try that new recipe you've been eyeing. It's really all about focusing on quality time and genuine connection rather than going over the top.
I love that. It's about those little things that show you care.
Yeah.
Like I once read about this couple who made it a tradition to write each other little love notes
Oh.
and hide them in unexpected places.
That's so sweet. It's those small, everyday gestures that can really make a difference.
Right, like finding a sweet little note tucked in your wallet or slipped inside a book.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about being extravagant.
No.
It's about being thoughtful.
Exactly.
And those little things don't have to be limited to romantic relationships either.
Totally. You could do something similar for friends and family members.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great way to show them that you care and appreciate them.
Totally. A small act of kindness can go a long way in any relationship. Like, imagine if we all made a conscious effort to do one small kind thing for someone we care about on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
What kind of ripple effect could that create?
I love that idea. It's about shifting the focus from romantic love to a more expansive view of love and connection.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't even have to be a material thing.
Okay.
Sometimes just taking the time to listen to someone or offer a helping hand can be the most meaningful gesture of all.
Couldn't agree more. It's about being present and supportive,
Mm-hmm.
letting the people in your life know that you're there for them.
Exactly.
And that's something we can all do regardless of our relationship status.
Absolutely. It's those genuine acts of love and care that really make a difference in our relationships and in the world around us.
So it seems like Valentine's Day can actually be a positive force in our relationships
Yeah.
if we approach it with the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's about focusing on genuine connection,
Yeah.
meaningful gestures,
Mm-hmm.
and appreciating the love in our lives in all its forms.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that love is this powerful force that connects us all.
I think that sums it up beautifully.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is more than just a Hallmark holiday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance to reflect on what truly matters,
Yeah.
to express our love and appreciation for the special people in our lives,
Right.
and to spread a little kindness along the way.
I love that.
I think it's about remembering that love is a verb.
Yeah.
It's not just a noun.
Right.
It's something we actively cultivate through our words, actions, and choices every single day.
Mm.
And Valentine's Day can be a beautiful reminder of that.
It can.
It's not about the grand gestures or the expensive gifts.
Yeah.
It's about those small, meaningful moments of connection
Mm-hmm.
that truly strengthen our relationships.
Beautifully said. Those everyday acts of kindness, appreciation, and love.
Yeah,
That's what makes a relationship thrive.
totally.
Speaking of those acts of kindness,
Yeah.
I'm reminded of something you mentioned earlier, those little love notes hidden in unexpected places.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think of the concept of love languages. It's like this idea that we all kind of give and receive love in different ways.
Right.
And understanding like your partner's love language can be so helpful in building a strong and fulfilling relationship.
Totally. It's like having this secret code
Uh-huh.
to figure out what makes your partner feel really loved and appreciated.
It's exactly.
So instead of just like defaulting to those traditional Valentine's Day cliches, like flowers and chocolates, we can actually tailor our gestures to their specific love language.
Exactly. It's all about being thoughtful and intentional.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if your partner's love language is acts of service, maybe you could surprise them by cooking dinner.
Oh, nice.
Or like running some errands for them. Or if their love language is quality time, maybe plan a special date night.
Yeah.
You can just like really connect and focus on each other.
I love that.
Without any distraction.
Oh, this is making me think about my own love language.
Oh,
I think mine is definitely words of affirmation.
Oh.
Like a heartfelt compliment or a handwritten note from someone I care about can totally make my day.
That's wonderful. And, it's a great reminder that we can all benefit from understanding our own love languages.
Yeah.
As well as, the love languages of the people we care about.
Absolutely. It's like having a cheat sheet for building stronger connections.
Uh-huh. Totally.
But, while we're talking about love and relationships,
I
think it's super important to remember
What's that?
that the most important relationship we have is the one with ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
So how can we cultivate self-love?
Yeah.
Especially on a day like Valentine's Day, which is so often focused on romantic love.
That's such a crucial point. It's so easy to get caught up in all the hype and totally forget to show ourselves some love, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Self-love is like the foundation for all other relationships.
Right.
Like if we don't love and respect ourselves,
Yeah.
it's really hard to give and receive love authentically from others.
So how can we actually practice self-love, especially on a day that seems to like revolve around romantic love?
Yeah.
Any tips for our listeners?
Well, I think it starts with being kind and compassionate towards ourselves. Treat yourself with the same love and care that you would give to someone you love. Celebrate your strengths, acknowledge your imperfections, and practice self-care.
Yes.
Do things that make you feel good.
Like what?
Whether it's taking a relaxing bath, reading a good book, or spending time in nature.
I love that.
It's about prioritizing our own well-being.
Okay.
And like filling our own cups first.
I love that. It's like giving yourself permission to be your own Valentine.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
And, when we feel good about ourselves, it kind of radiates outwards and makes all our other relationships better.
Absolutely. Self-love isn't selfish. It's essential. When we love ourselves, we're so much better able to love and support others. So true. It's about recognizing our own worth and value.
Yeah.
So we can show up authentically in all our relationships.
It's interesting how we often associate Valentine's Day with these grand gestures and romantic love.
Right.
But at its core, it's really about celebrating all forms of love.
That's such a beautiful reminder. It's about recognizing and appreciating the love in our lives, whether it's romantic, platonic, familial, or even self-love. It's about embracing like the whole spectrum of human connection.
Exactly. And that's what makes this holiday so special.
Yeah.
It gives us a chance to pause and reflect on the people who make our lives brighter and to express our love and gratitude for them.
And that includes all the wonderful people in our lives.
Yeah.
Our families, friends, mentors, and even our furry companions.
Absolutely. Love is this powerful force that connects us all.
For sure.
And Valentine's Day is a beautiful reminder of that.
It is.
It's a day to celebrate the bonds we share.
Yeah.
And to make those connections even stronger. And remember, it doesn't have to be limited to just one day.
Right.
We can celebrate love every day.
Totally.
By being kind, compassionate, and supportive towards the people we care about.
Yeah.
And by showing ourselves a little love, too.
As much as we've talked about the positive aspects of Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
it's important to acknowledge that there can be some potential pitfalls, too.
Uh-oh, like what?
Especially, when we're bombarded with all those picture-perfect images of romance and extravagant gestures. It's so easy to fall into that trap of comparison.
Oh, yeah.
And, start feeling inadequate or disappointed if our own Valentine's Day doesn't measure up.
Totally. It's like everyone's trying to outdo each other with the most romantic gestures and Instagram-worthy dates.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that those images are often curated.
Absolutely.
and don't necessarily reflect reality.
Exactly. Every relationship is unique, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach to Valentine's Day. So what can our listeners do to avoid falling into this comparison trap?
Right.
And, keep their expectations in check?
Well, first and foremost, communication is key.
Yes.
Talk to your partner about your expectations for Valentine's Day. And be honest about your budget.
Right.
There's no need to go into debt or put on a show just to impress your partner.
I couldn't agree more. The most meaningful gestures often come from the heart,
Totally.
not the wallet.
Right.
Remember those little love notes we were talking about earlier? Something like that, something personal and heartfelt can be way more valuable than any expensive gift.
Exactly. It's about being thoughtful and intentional.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses or, the Kardashians of Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
But what about those who are single? Any advice for our listeners who might be feeling a little left out during this lovey-dovey season?
For those who are single, it's so important to remember that Valentine's Day is just one day out of the year. Your worth and happiness aren't defined by your relationship status.
Right.
There are so many ways to celebrate love and connection, even if you're not in a romantic relationship.
Okay.
You could plan a fun outing with friends.
Okay.
Spend time doing something you love.
Yeah.
Or simply treat yourself to something special.
I love that. It's about reclaiming the day and making it your own.
Yeah.
Regardless of your relationship status.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, it seems like Valentine's Day can be this beautiful celebration of love.
It can.
But it's important to approach it with awareness.
Yes.
Intention. And a healthy dose of reality.
Absolutely. And don't forget to bring your sense of humor.
Oh, yeah?
A little laughter can go a long way in making any holiday more enjoyable.
I love that.
Yeah.
After all, love shouldn't be taken too seriously all the time.
Exactly. It's about finding joy in the connections we have.
Yeah.
And celebrating those moments of love and laughter that make life so special. Speaking of special connections, there's one final question I'd love to explore with you before we wrap up.
Okay.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Right.
The age-old question, do soulmates really exist? I have to admit, it's a concept that's always kind of fascinated me.
Yeah.
This whole idea that there's someone out there who's like perfectly matched to us.
Right.
Someone who just gets us on a soul level.
It's a question that's captivated philosophers and poets for centuries.
Seriously?
Yeah, and there's no easy answer.
Wow.
Some people wholeheartedly believe in soulmates, while others view love as more of a choice we make,
Right.
A commitment we nurture day after day.
So where do you stand on all this? Do you believe in soulmates?
Personally, I find the whole concept of soulmates incredibly romantic and inspiring.
Okay.
It kind of speaks to that deep human longing for connection, for belonging, for finding someone who really sees and understands us.
I totally agree. There's something so magical about that idea.
Yeah.
Finding that one person who just complements you perfectly.
Right.
Like they're the missing piece of your puzzle.
But I also think it's important to remember that love is complex.
Okay.
It's not always about finding that perfect person.
Right.
It's more about choosing to love someone flaws and and committing to growing and evolving together.
That's a great point. It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly.
And sometimes that journey takes us on these unexpected turns,
Oh, yeah.
leading us to people and experiences we never could have imagined.
Totally. And those unexpected detours can be just as meaningful and transformative as any fairy tale romance.
Oh, for sure.
We might find those soulmate qualities in multiple people throughout our lives.
Like who?
In our friends' family members.
Okay.
Even those random encounters that just kind of leave a lasting impact.
So maybe it's not really about searching for the one,
Right?
but more about cherishing those deep connections we make, throughout our lives.
Yeah.
Recognizing those moments of recognition and understanding that make us feel really seen and appreciated.
I love that perspective. It expands the whole idea of soulmates beyond just romantic love. And it lets us embrace all the different kinds of human connection.
And it reminds us that love in all its forms is a gift to be celebrated.
Beautifully said. So as we wrap up our conversation about Valentine's Day,
Okay.
I think it's safe to say that this holiday, while it's often commercialized and hyped up, it can be a really powerful reminder of how important human connection is.
It's a chance to reflect on the love in our lives, to express our gratitude for the people who make us feel loved and supported,
Right.
and to just spread a little kindness along the way.
And remember, love is a verb.
Okay.
It's something we actively create and nurture every single day.
What a beautiful way to sum it up.
Oh, thanks.
So, listeners, as you're navigating all the highs and lows of Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
remember to be kind to yourselves and to each other.
Mm.
Focus on genuine connection, thoughtful gestures,
Yeah.
and celebrating the love in your life in all its messy, imperfect,
Yeah.
and utterly beautiful forms.
And remember, whether you believe in soulmates or not, the most important thing is to approach love with an open heart and a curious mind.
So what are your Valentine's Day plans? Grand gesture or quiet connection? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Until next time, this has been Red Studio Talks with Linus and Genevieve.